It's been said that every quilt tells a story, and it's so true. But I also believe every quilter has a story to tell. I wanted to hear about the people behind these wonderful quilts and thought you'd enjoy hearing about their lives also. Welcome to A Quilter's Life. I first interviewed Kathryn LeBlanc in 2021. It just doesn't seem like 3.5 years have passed since then. This is our fourth visit, and I am thrilled to share with you what Kathryn has been up to. She continues to write lighthearted, humorous, cozy mysteries under the pen name Kathryn Mykel, and has published so many fun books that include her passion for the craft of quilting. I purposely am sharing her interview now so that you will have time to check them out for gifts this year. It might be something you want to put on your own Christmas list, or a gift for someone you know. Kathryn is even offering a special bundle for the holiday season, which you can find on her website, authorkathrynmykel.com/store. FYI, I don't have an affiliate link with Kathryn, so I am not receiving any compensation for promoting her business. Kathryn, thanks again for visiting with me on A Quilter's Life. We want to get an update on what's going on with you and your books and your quilting.
Thank you for having me.
Now, last year, you had written Threading Trouble in your Quilting Cozy Mystery, and we chatted about that. But you have written quite a few cozy mysteries and other books just since last year. Tell us about that.
I average about 12 stories a year. So I've probably done at least that many since the last time we spoke. Threading Trouble was book number 4, and I released book number 6 already, and then 7 and 8 are available for pre-order, which will be 2025 books.
Wow.
I also just released a new line of wholesome romance, historical wholesome romance, and that is like a mail order bride type book, but it's mail order husbands. And there's 17 of us that have kind of gotten together to do a project, and so there'll be 30 books of mail order husbands. They're all wholesome romance. Of course, mine features some sort of craft or sewing type opportunity in there. So my main character in the one that just came out, Mail Order Carpenter, she illegally imported alpacas. And so by the end of it, they come out with a fleece sock business back in 1890. It's a little far-fetched, but it's okay.
Well, that's what you shared with me before, was these aren't supposed to be necessarily 100% believable, but they're enjoyable.
Yeah. I like to take advantage of my creative freedom as a fiction author. I know that historical romance is probably supposed to be a lot more historical than the cozies. The cozies, you can pretty much do whatever you want with them. But yeah, I enjoy that part of it.
Well, I took a peek at your website, and that looks fun.
Yeah, I just got that up and running.
So getting your toe into wholesome romance. Do you expect to do a lot more with that, or are you going to jump back and do more with your cozy mysteries, or both?
I'm due to release another mail order husband books in November, and that will probably be my last one for a while. And I'm going back to focus on the original cozy series and then the new series that just started. We released, I say we, it's just me and everybody else who is involved in making these books happen. But I released the first book, Raining Quilts and Dogs, in the new series, and that's the Heatherton series, which is, you'll find out once we start getting into the series that it's interconnected with my current series and half the other books that I've written. But it's set in a fictional town called Heatherton, Maine. And the main character, she's come home from a failed business adventure, and her father has gifted her with a dilapidated old monastery that she's going to turn into a world-class quilting retreat center. So in the first book, she gets the monastery, and then she spends the first few books trying to get it updated, and then the quilters come, and then we have all these shenanigans around what's going on. And it's kind of funny because we all belong to a quilt pattern designers group where we, as professionals, we can share with one another and collaborate. And I put a call out for anybody who wanted to be killed off in the books. And I had more people sign up and say they were interested than I have books to write at this point. But I shouldn't say I'm looking forward to killing off designers, but I'm looking forward to having them in the books. It's going to be a lot of fun, just kind of throwing in their personalities and talking about their quilts and stuff like that. So it's a really great collaboration that we're having.
I'm picturing someone being killed off and then someone reading the book and then finding this person online and thinking, you're still living?
Oh gosh, no, I hope that's not the case. I have to put some like really bold author notes. This is
I know that's far-fetched too. I was just teasing with you.
Yeah. Well, the main character is Elizabeth. When she finally does get the retreat center open, her first retreat is going to be the woman who has booked the retreat has said she's bringing 40 to 50 people with her. And so inaugural event. And so we're going to have Linda Hahn in. I don't know if you know Linda Hahn, but she's famous for New York Beauties. And she's also a Zumba instructor. So you can kind of figure out what's going to happen to Linda when she comes to teach a class at the new retreat center. It's going to be so much fun.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Oh, your books are fun to read. We also chatted about the other cozy mysteries that you've written. You have a quilt specific to each book, and you were working on patterns for those books. How is that coming along?
Well, I'm still working on the original book 1 because, of course, it had to be a grandmother's flower garden, right? Which is probably one of the most time-consuming quilts there is. So I'm still working on that. I've been plugging away at it a little bit at a time because there's about 10 million Y seams in it, and they're not easy. So I haven't quite done the pattern yet because I don't want to finish the pattern without having the sample quilt ready to be shown. I mean, I could put a pattern out for it without having a quilt, but I just feel like it's important to have the sample to say that this is the quilt kind of thing for this case, I guess. So I haven't gotten any of those out, but I do have the new books, the new series, the Heatherton series. Each one of those has a block pattern inside of it that's free. And then each one of those has a corresponding paid pattern. And those are being done by Laura over at Orange Blossom Quilt Studios. And I just realized that, like, by the time I'm done writing the book, I don't have the time and energy to write the pattern and create the quilt and all that stuff. And Laura Strickland over at Orange Blossom Quilt Design Studio, she has a team of testers to test the patterns and people to piece out the blocks and create the quilts and all that jazz. So I'm just leaving it in her capable hands. But that collaboration is proving to be a lot of fun as well, because we're talking about book boxes, quilt boxes, fabric to go with the line and stuff like that. So there's going to be, once we get closer towards the middle or end of the series, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us to bring the books and the quilts together to quilters on a different level than I've been able to do before. So yeah, I farmed that out.
Well, collaboration is great in that able to show off your strength in your writing. And also you've come up with what quilts you want for the book. So working with her, that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, we both came up with the concepts and stuff like that. And then I've left it strictly to her to come up with the patterns and the designs. So I can't tell you or show you what the final block of the month is going to be, but it's absolutely stunning. Let me tell you, she's just a really, really creative designer, and it's a really stunning pattern. I think people are going to really love it.
Yeah. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Soon, I think, maybe partway, maybe like book 5, we might be able to start teasing people with images and stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see.
I also was noticing you have been working with others on a block remix. What was that about?
That one's run by Kate Colleran. It's basically taking a traditional block. This month was the maple leaf and reimagining it into a different design. And I fell behind this month a little bit because I had some other things going on, but it's really interesting and fun as a designer and also just as a quilter, for myself as a quilter, to watch designers will deconstruct the whole block and then reuse the pieces in a different design. Some will take the original design and modify it in some way that makes it unique, things like that, or just using really fantastic fabrics to change the way it appears, that kind of thing. So it's a ton of fun. It's strictly Instagram based, so you get to see all the pretty pictures, which is really great. And so if you pop over to Instagram, I think the hashtag is Quilt Block Remix off the top of my head. You should be able to click on that hashtag and see they've been doing this for, I don't know, probably over a year now, maybe even closer to 2. This might be the second season. I've had participated in quite a few of them previously. Somehow I kind of dropped off for whatever reason, and I saw it again in the group and I thought, oh, I want to get back on that. It's just a lot of fun. And, I like to see what other designers are doing, and everybody likes to see pretty fabric being used in different ways. So it's kind of just a way for designers to stretch their design capability and kind of take you outside of your comfort zone, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned you're working on that grandmother's flower garden. Is that what you're focusing on this past year, or do you have other quilts you're working on?
I have other quilts that I work on personally. I've been doing small projects along the way. A friend of mine makes time for us all to get together because she knows that we're workaholics, and if we don't make time, we'll never quilt. So she makes time, and I've been working on my 365 quilts, which is 1 block a day for 365 days a year. Let's see, I think I'm on year 5 now. But that's okay. It'll get done when it gets done. But so I picked that up again. And I recently purchased a new to me, a used RV. And the way you have to make the beds in the RV is so challenging because there's all these like cutouts and there's step ups and there's cabinets and all this stuff. So I designed a quilt pattern that I have actually pieced, and I got the backing and everything ready for it. So I just need to quilt it, and then I'm going to come out with the pattern for that. But it'll be like a queen size quilt that's specifically designed for these RV beds that are just absolutely impossible to make. So I have been working on that, which has been really fun. Definitely been working on the grandmother's flower garden, which I'm excited about. I have, I think it's a twin. It might be a full. It's like a full or a twin. And I have like 4 more rows to sew together. And then I have all of the blocks that go around the outer edge. They're like half blocks. So I'm probably about 3/4 of the way done, which is very exciting. It's one of those bucket list quilts, I think. I think a lot of people have it on their bucket list to make. And a lot of the first quilts that I put on the first few covers are bucket list quilts. They're hard quilts. It's not like you're whipping them up every single day. You know what I mean? So
That's because your character did hard things.
Yeah, that's true. Hard work's going on inside the books. Hard work's going on outside with the quilting. Yeah, it's fun. Each of the books has a different quilt on the cover, like the background or the wallpaper, so to speak. So I designed the quilts on the first 6 covers. And then I also decided to open it up and partner with some established designers if they were interested in using their current patterns on the covers. So the next 2 books that are out right now, you'll see one of them is by Carrie Goulder of Kid Gidry, and she has the ugly sweater block pattern. So we turned that into a quilt and we put that on the front because it's a Christmas themed cozy mystery. And then you probably know the exploding heart pattern by Laura Paland of Slice of Pie. That's a pretty popular pattern. So you'll also see that on one of the next coming books as well. And super fun kind of little secret inside scoop is one of the quilts that you're going to see on the next books. The cover hasn't been released yet, but is actually going to be in an episode on the Quilt Show right next to Ricky Timms. So that should be fun. So I think, like there's just a lot of new opportunities that are headed our way that are going to be a ton of fun with those.
Congratulations. That is so exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, imagine my surprise when I happened upon that and I went, that's the quilt that she used on my book cover. And there it is with Alex Anderson and Ricky Timms. I was like, you go, girl. That's a February secret that will come out, I guess. So come February, we're going to have a fun little release.
How exciting. How's your puppy doing?
Yeah. So, how's my dog? My dog is great. Bentley is so awesome.
And have you been able to use Bentley more in your books?
Oh, he is the star of the new series, the Heatherton series. I named the dog Bentley just to make it easier because, believe it or not, it does get really hard to remember which dog is in which series and which character and which name. And I actually edit for somebody and she has 2 series and sometimes the names cross over and I'm sure I do it as well. So I just figured it would be easier to name him Bentley because I know it. But yeah, I have a running list of all the silly things that my dog does that I plan on putting inside of the series. But the dog on the cover and the dog that's in the book is actually, it's an Affin Pinscher, which my dog is a Shih Tzu Terrier mix. And the one that's on the book is an Affin Pinscher. And if you look up Affin Pinscher, oh my goodness, they're the cutest, silliest little looking dogs. They look like little monkeys because that's, I guess, what Affin Pinscher name means. It means monkey dog or something like that. And so they have like a flat little monkey face. And they're so adorable.
So, Kathryn, are you going to get any more pets so you can use them in your books?
No, definitely not. When I got Bentley, so my stepdaughter is like 20 something years old at this point. So I was quite a few years out of having to be responsible for another living thing when I got Bentley. And that was kind of a little bit of a shock to have to be responsible. No, he is the coolest, chillest dog I could ever have imagined. So I can't imagine getting another cool, chill dog like him. So pretty much he's it. And then we'll see what happens. Yeah. And to have 2 of them at the same time, no, I can't handle that at all. No. My sister has a cat. So when I need cat therapy, I just live vicariously through her and her cats. But funny enough, her cat is the same size as my dog.
I guess you'll just have to take notes off her cat.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Cats are crazy. I love them too, but I definitely used to be a cat person and now I'm pretty much a dog person. I can't help it.
I noticed you're going to be at a quilt show. Have you been doing much in that way?
Yeah, I did a couple in the spring and I just did one in Massachusetts. And I have one coming up next month in New Hampshire. And I also do book signings at quilt shops. So I have one of those this weekend. So if there's anybody out there who wants me to come to their local quilt guild, quilt shop, quilt whatever, I'm happy to do that as well. I'm working on transitioning my quilt booth because I don't want it to just be all books. Books are great and the quilting with the books is great, but I'm still a quilter at heart. So I'm working on trying to transition the booth, which was predominantly all dragonfly themed, which was what my theme was when I first started my business, to a little bit more book inclusive, I guess, with, like small projects and things like that that have to do with reading and probably writing and journaling or whatever. I don't know. I've got fabric bookmarks now. I have a pattern for that, and I've got little kits for those and things like that. So I'm kind of working on retransitioning and changing the booth to go with the books, that kind of thing. So that's fun. It gives me, something new to do. And so if anybody's listening to this and they have reading themed projects, let me know. But, like tablet holders or bags or clutches and things like that, just like whatever. I know I have a cute little pattern for like a little notepad and a little pen, just things that go along with the whole reading and quilting theme.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And next year, maybe you'll have some of your kits available.
Definitely. I always have like little kits. Since I started my quilting business in like 2014, I think is when I started. My thing has always been fun little projects that you can finish quickly and be done with. Like I really am all about not having UFOs. So I think anything that I come up with that has to do with the book business will be that kind of small, instant gratification kind of project.
And you mentioned the dragonfly. I happened to notice when I was looking at your block remix that in each block you made, you found different dragonfly fabric. How did you find so many different dragonfly fabrics?
Oh, here's my dragonfly fabric secret. So because I had the store and the business name was Dragonfly's Quilt Shop, I always carried dragonfly fabrics and I brought those with me to shows and stuff like that. So basically what I did from the time I opened the store is every single time a new dragonfly fabric came in, I took the first yard off of it and I put it in my stash. I don't have a very big stash, but 90% of it is all dragonfly fabrics. I recently have just been starting to get like blenders and stuff to go with them because I literally just had all of these fabrics that didn't match or coordinate or anything like that because I didn't always take from the line. I just took the dragonfly. So it was a lot of fun the last few years building up the stash of like blenders and things like that. Yeah, so that was my goal when I did the remix was to use a dragonfly fabric in every single one that I did just so that I was getting to use those fabrics and not just hoard them. I don't like to hoard fabric. I like to use it. So basically almost every project that I work on now from that day forward, when I started doing those remixes, I use a dragonfly or two, sometimes two or three in every single thing I make. So yeah, slowly working through that stash.
I started noticing them and I had to go back and I had to enlarge some of them. And it's like, oh yes, there is a dragonfly in that one.
Yeah, some of them, they're blenders. So they're like white on white or black on black or yeah, some of them are a little bit harder to tell.
But that was fun to search for those.
What I had originally started doing was making 9 patches out of them. And I stopped that. I don't know when I stopped that, but it didn't last as long as me collecting the fabric. So I do have a pile of 9 patches that are made out of some of the like beginning fabrics from like 2014-ish that I should probably bust out at some point and do something with.
You mentioned a 365. Yep. I'm not quite sure what that is. Can you tell me more about it?
Sure. I think it's called the 365 Challenge. If you look it up on Facebook, they have multiple different Facebook groups that are dedicated just to that. And people all over the world are making these quilts. So it's 1 block a day for 365 days, and all the patterns are free. And they come in your email, and you can print them out and make them. And they're ridiculously challenging blocks. Some of the blocks may take you an hour to make one 3.5-inch block. Some may take you 3 or 4 hours. Some are 6-inch, and then there's a few 12 inches. I know one of the 12 inches that I've made so far, it was like a 12-hour block. Like it took me 12 straight hours to make a single 12-inch block. So they're ridiculously challenging, which is awesome because it just creates better quilters in the end. But if you search 365 Challenge, you'll find it. It's by Kathryn Kerr, and the Kathryn is spelled the same way I spell my name. She has other patterns that she's gone on and done 365 with, but they're paid patterns as well. And so every year she re-releases it, and you get 1 block a day. And Sometimes she mixes up the order, which is a lot of fun trying to figure out, which block they're working on which day. But yeah, so I started making 2 of them, one for me and one for my sister. So I have like probably $1,000 worth of fabric for each of them that I've collected, because everywhere I go, I'm like, oh, that's the perfect purple for this 365, or this is the perfect peach, or, whatever. I have these little baggies, and sometimes I just spend a whole day cutting. It might take hours just to cut the little block, because some of them have like 30, 40, 50, 100 pieces in them, and they're not paper pieced or anything like that. Some of them have like 7/16 or, like whatever, 7/8, or they have like really intricate measurements and things like that. And it's super fun to challenge yourself to become a better skilled quilter by doing it. So I would recommend anybody take a look, search it out and find it and join a group. And so what they do is they post pictures of their blocks as they go every day, which is a lot of fun too, to see what kind of fabrics everybody else is using, because even though they're all the same exact blocks, every single one of them is completely different because of all the fabric choices and stuff. So talk about pretty pictures. There's some pretty pictures for you to look at when you look at those.
That always amazes me, how wonderful all these blocks, even though they're the same block, how amazingly different they are, and they're all so beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. One of my best-selling quilts is called Goody Two Shoes, and it's basically a shoe fly block. And I bring it everywhere I go, and I have, I think, 5 quilts made out of it now, out of different fabrics, some batik, some regular, some dragonfly. And it's really neat to see them all hanging next to each other, because they're all the exact same quilt, but they all look completely different. And it's a lot of fun to see that.
With Christmas just around the corner, I am so glad you came and chatted with me, because I know we're going to want to either put your books on our wish list or pick them up for our quilty friends. So go ahead and share your website information so we can find it.
Awesome. That would be great. Yeah, people buy paperbacks for Christmas often. They're great stocking stuffers as well, too. And I will put up a link for a bundle. So if you want to buy the bundle of books that are out right now that are autographed and all kinds of swag, bookmarks and stuff like that, I'll put that out and give you the link for that. But it's www.authorkathryn, Kathryn, Mykel, Mykel.com. Super easy.
Great. And that link will be on my website on your episode page, so they can go to A Quilter's Life and find you on there too.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll put together a fun little Christmas package that should be really nice as a gift to give to people.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Kathryn. This was so much fun to get an update from you. And I love sharing all the updates on your books and your quilting. I'm looking forward to reading your newer books.
Well, thank you for having me. I always enjoy talking with you and laughing with you. It's so much fun. One of the things I love most in life is to laugh out loud. So this definitely hits the mark.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You can find more stories on aquilterslife.com or subscribe on your favorite podcast player so each episode will be downloaded automatically. Also, I want to hear about you and your wonderful quilts. Please contact me, Paula Chamberlain, through the website to set up an interview. And as always, thanks for listening.